On the island of Antiparos, at the heart of the Aegean, Gaia produced an exquisite organic olive oil in limited edition, which traveled all the way to the US. The sales of Antiparos olive oil will finance 10 new and innovative Greek companies to grow. Buy today your bottle in reinspiregreece.com and support the Greek youth to move forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year and welcome to New Greek TV News, English edition. Prime Minister Adonis Samaras stressed in his New Year message to the Greek people that, quote, "We have passed through the difficulties and avoided the worst. 2014 will be a year of recovery and hope." Samaras stressed that we are no longer asking for loans. We achieved what is self-evident, to meet our needs, and this through the primary surplus. We took the first step to stand on our feet. We put an end to the vicious circle of recession, and 2014 is dawning with prospects of recovery and growth. The Prime Minister also said that the primary surplus is not simply figures. It is the foundation of Greece's independence and hope, and said the government would return its largest part to society, to the weaker and the most unfairly treated. Recovery, as he said, will begin to create jobs and salary increases. The first collective labor agreement has already been signed after 4 years, he noted. The reversal of the climate has begun, and recovery will spread everywhere, he noted, and added that Greece will enter the markets in 2014 and will become a normal country. And furthermore, the Greek debt will be proclaimed sustainable without memorandums. Andonis Kantasis' revelations to prosecutors have caused reverberations in Greece, but are now rippling across borders, involving German companies in the network of black funds for kickbacks. The issue has been gathering momentum in Germany, where companies that are implicated by testimonies in Greece are rushing to distance themselves from any involvement. Local judicial authorities, however, have started investigating the issue. Süddeutsche Zeitung extensively covered the issue of Kantasis' deposition and the initiation of inquiries by Bremen prosecutors in a report entitled Good Relations, which also presents the way kickbacks were collected for procurements of tanks, submarines, and other weapon systems. According to the newspaper, evidence in the hands of Bremen prosecution bears Kantasis' depositions out. Judicial authorities have been scrutinizing German firms Rheinmetall and Atlas. The newspaper also maintains that 16 million euros were given to Greek officials for the modernization of Type 209 Poseidon-class submarines, adding that Bremen prosecutors are aware of the circuit followed to transfer the funds. It also asserts that kickbacks were involved in the contracts for the ASRAD close air defense system. Süddeutsche Zeitung notes that Kantas has accepted that he received money through a go-between from Rheinmetall and Atlas, which Bremen prosecutors believe is the money courier. Rheinmetall maintains it has no idea about any bribes and has never given any orders towards such end. The report places special emphasis on the purchase of 170 battle tanks from German firm Krauss-Maffei Wegmann, for which Kantas says he received a total of 1.7 million euros. Krauss-Maffei also maintains that nothing untoward happened and the deal was completely transparent. That deal was the only purchase after extensive field trials that was ever made by the Hellenic Armed Forces, raising other questions concerning how Greeks could request bribes from the trial winner and why the company would pay. For German firms, it's not just German laws that foresee stiff penalties for corrupt practices, but also the side effects of the scandal at a time of waning sales due to the crisis. The newspaper notes that the statute of limitations that has not been reached since payments on some of the programs are still pending. A resounding no was the answer from Mikis Theodorakis to the proposal by Evangelos Venizelos that he be placed as a candidate for the country's presidency. Just a day after exiting the hospital, the famous composer decided to scotch rumors caused by Mr. Venizelos' proposal that he be placed as a candidate to succeed President Papoulias. Mr. Theodorakis retorted in especially harsh tones, calling the government subject personnel that condemn anyone who speaks against the memorandums and against the system, like himself. the composer added, quote, "How is it possible for every sort of representative of the personnel of subjugation to involve me in their games, and indeed as a factor for the resolution of their problems?" Mr. Theodorakis clarified that he has no place in the political games that embroil the existing political personnel, which, blinded by political ambitions, have abandoned the Greek people. Mr. Venizelos had twice, and in unforeseen circumstances, mentioned the name of Mikis Theodorakis for the presidency, noting at one point that the requisite 180 votes could be found to elect the new president in 2015 without resorting to public elections. The leader of PASOK had in fact said that the next president could be a person of artistic or literary merit, mentioning Mr. Theodorakis and adding, quote, "Is there anyone else with greater political and international stature?" The sea around the island of Antikythera has yielded a veritable archaeological treasure trove, but recent studies show that the sea may be hiding even more precious items. Research conducted in the area by the Seabed Antiquities Ephorate, aided technologically by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, show that there are actually 2 shipwrecks in the vicinity. In 2014, divers will attempt to conduct a further search of shipwrecks that in the past yielded the famous Antikythera mechanism and at least 36 statues. The wealth of objects is explained by the fact that ships laden with looted art and tech works from Greece were being shipped to Rome and sunk en route off Antikythera. Scientists hope to recover more artifacts and technical objects because of protrusions they found on the seabed. Through EdgeTech 4600 seabed mapping technology, all of the coastline surrounding the island of Antikythera to a depth of 120 meters has been scanned with special emphasis on the area of the known Roman shipwreck. The Seabed Antiquities Ephorate is convinced that more finds will be recovered, since apart from the Roman shipwreck site, 6 more shipwrecks have been found off the western peninsulas of Crete, 3 of which are from Roman times. Archaeologists have also found a modern metal steamer and the remains, possibly, of HMS Cambrian, which sank while bombarding pirates holed up at Gramvousa Fort in January of 1828. Ilias Lalaounis died at the age of 93. He was one of the most famous Greek jewelers, widely known for creating luxurious gold jewelry inspired from Greek history and antiquity. Ilias Lalaounis was born in Athens in 1920 and was the 4th generation of goldsmiths and watchmakers from the region of Delphi. Although he originally trained in economics and law, Lalaounis quickly changed path and joined the family business, Zolotas, in 1940. In 1942, while Greece was still in the midst of World War II, Lalaounis took the family firm and started studying ancient Greek art and antiquities. In the 50s, when Greece was recovering from the war, he decided to revive Greek museum artifacts and antiquities by transforming them into jewelry using modern techniques. In 1957, Lalaounis founded the Greek Goldsmiths Association and played a major part in promoting the jewelry trade within Greece. In 1960, Lalaounis, after his uncle Epthimios Zolotas passed away, started his own company. He mainly chose gold as a primary material, unlike other jewelers who used diamonds and precious stones. Ancient artifacts sparked off his imagination and inspired thousands of jewelry designs. His work was widely appreciated and his business kept expanding throughout Europe, Asia, and America. Initially, branches were opened on several Greek islands and soon expanded through Europe in Paris, Zurich, Geneva, and London, and in cities throughout the world, such as New York, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. He was the first goldsmith to be honored by the Institut de France, Académie des Beaux-Arts des Lettres, for his contribution to the art of jewelry creation. In 1983, Ilias Lalaounis and his daughters decided to create a museum. The Ilias Lalaounis Jewelry Museum is a unique museum devoted to the art of jewelry and decorative arts. Today, the museum's permanent collection includes over 4,000 pieces of jewelry and micro sculptures from over 50 collections designed by the museum's founder, Ilias Lalaounis, between 1940 and 2000. The permanent collection is enriched with donations including jewelry and decorative arts from around the world. The terrorist attack against the German ambassador's residence and ongoing revelations of graft and undermining Greek efforts for a successful EU presidency but Herr Schäuble steps in for a rescue. The attack by terrorists against the German ambassador's residence in an Athens suburbs did more than rattle Ambassador Wolfgang Dold and his family. It added to the headache in relations between the two countries, already strained by German intransigence on Greek austerity measures. Ahead of the Greek presidency of the EU in the first half of 2014, the attack on what is essentially German territory only comes to add to misgivings already being vociferously presented in European media as to the efficacy of Greek efforts to stage a successful presidency. German daily Bild openly questioned whether Greece would be able to pull off the presidency, noting that the most indebted country in Europe cannot act as a political model. Meanwhile, Austrian paper Kronen Zeitung headlined, "It's no joke, the Greeks have the EU presidency." The paper also highlights the rise of neo-Nazi Golden Dawn and the fact that Syriza is shown by polls in first place. The continuing revelations of corruption that are coming out also undermine the country's image ahead of the presidency. On a more optimistic note, German Finance Minister Wolfgang Schäuble noted the presidency was an opportunity for Greece, adding that Europeans will not disappoint Greece and will stand by the country. The government announced a set of emergency measures to combat the smog from fireplaces that poses a threat to public health. The measures were passed through Parliament as a joint ministerial decision signed by the Ministers of Finance, Interior, Development, Administrative Reform, Health, Environment, Transport, Public Order, and Merchant Marine. The combination of unfavorable weather conditions and the large number of people burning wood to stay warm, because it's cheaper than using oil or gas for heating, has created severe air pollution over Athens, Thessaloniki, and a number of other cities. The Ministry of Health recommends persons with breathing problems or heart failure problems, especially children and the elderly, to avoid any type of outdoor exercise. Moreover, the ministry suggests that they should avoid, if possible, staying in affected areas. Asthma sufferers should use their medication during these days more intensely and should consult doctors regularly. Beyond recommendations, the government also introduced certain bans during the days when air pollution is high, which is above 150 micrograms per cubic meter. On a different ministerial decision, the Ministry of Environment allows all those eligible for social rates on electricity to use electricity for free during high particle concentration days. Moreover, non-governmental organizations, churches, and other social service buildings will be treated with reduced rates during the 4-month winter season. The ministerial decision also commits the government to offering free electricity to needy households for twice the amount of days that the restrictive measures are in place. Finance Minister Yannis Stournaras, Health Minister Adonis Georgiadis, and Environment Minister Yannis Maniatis took the unusual step of holding a press conference on Christmas Day to insist that there will not be a change in the heating oil tax. Stournaras said that Greece is close to achieving its target for revenues for fuel sales this year. The goal was to collect 6.8 billion euros, and the government is on course to gather almost 6.5 billion. Mr. Stournaras also insisted that the drop in heating oil consumption was only in a small part due to the cost of fuel and the recession. Many Greeks have joined Southern Europeans in searching for a better future in Norway. Norway has experienced a large increase in the number of Southern European immigrants in the past year. The Norway Post, in an article, suggests that since unemployment has risen in Greece and Spain, the number of immigrants going for a better future and a job go to Norway. Numbers are high and are expected to increase further in the years to come. The newspaper article says, in Spain and Greece, the unemployment rate is now at 26 to 27%. For youth, the numbers are twice as high. Already, this should have resulted in an increase similar to the high rate of Eastern European and Swedish work immigrants, but the effect cannot really be seen until now. When comparing data from November 2012 to November 2013, work immigrants from Greece with jobs have increased by 49% and top the list of countries with the highest increase, the article suggests. The court decided on a penalty of 4 years in prison, committed to probation, and 3,000 euros in cash for former Minister Michalis Liapis, who was caught driving the car with forged license plates. Returning to Athens International Airport on Friday afternoon from a trip to Malaysia, Liapis told the scrum of reporters he was confronted with that he had gone on the trip, quote, to relax after his dramatic experience, and blamed Greek media for hounding him after his arrest. The former conservative minister, who claims to have handed in his license plates to authorities as financial constraints prevented him from paying increased road tax, faces charges of false certification and forgery and a suspended jail sentence of between 6 months to 5 years. "I made a mistake and I must pay the consequences," Llapis said after his arrest, adding, however, that he only took the car out to charge the batteries ahead of his trip to Asia. Llapis was ousted from the New Democracy Party after his arrest. 13-year-old Stavroula Tsolakidou gained the world title in chess in the girls under 14-year category that took place in the United Arab Emirates. 13-year-old Stavroula Tsolakidou from Kavala in northern Greece managed to gather 9 points in 11 games with 8 victories and won first place in the World Youth Championship 2013 that took place in Al Ain, the United Arab Emirates, over the past weekend. Stavroula competed against 124 girls from 64 different countries, with 8 victories, 2 draws, and 1 defeat. She managed to gain equal points with Tokirova Gulkurebegim from Uzbekistan. However, Stavroula had more victories than her co-athlete and won first place. Stavroula's victory is no surprise to the Greek chess world, since she has proved many times what a great talent she is. She has been a chess athlete with the Greek national team and has already gained many international medals. Literary magazine Dekata hosted the 7th annual Athens Prize for Literature for 2013. The ceremony took place at the Athens Cultural Center on Saturday, December the 28th. The award for Best Greek Novel went to How the World Ends. It's a novel written by 30-year-old Maria Xilouri and was published by Kalendi Editions. It describes the lives of 6 young people who explore life, death, love, and share their fears and their thoughts together. It is the second novel of this young novelist. Her first novel, Rewind, was published in 2009. The award for Best Foreign Novel went to IQ 84 by Japanese Haruki Murakami, first published in 3 volumes in Japan between 2009 and 2010. The novel quickly became a sensation, with the first printing selling out the day it was released and reaching sales of 1 million within a month. The English language edition of all 3 volumes was released in North America and the UK in 2011 and 2012. Psycholios Editions translated the novel into Greek. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us for this English edition news. Tune in next week. This was Themis Iliopoulos for New Greek TV. Have a happy New Year.
On the island of Antiparos, at the heart of the Aegean, Gaia produced an exquisite organic olive oil in limited edition, which traveled all the way to the US. The sales of Antiparos olive oil will finance 10 new and innovative Greek companies to grow. Buy today your bottle in reinspiregreece.com and support the Greek youth to move forward.